who started computing in the world. I would be surprised if a few of us know who that person is. That person, yes, Ada Lovelace. She was a lady. That's where all these things, digital, all these things, computing, you see, the first person to develop algorithms that could be used for machine learning and for processing of data is Ada Lovelace. So all of us that are now in this sector, we thank that lady. But how many of you are on Facebook? By show of hands. How many of you know the COO of Facebook, the Chief Operating Officer, the number 2 most powerful person at Facebook? Who knows the name? Her name is Sheryl Sandberg, a lady, driving Meta to where Meta is. How many of you are using WhatsApp? The boss lady, the main person at WhatsApp is a lady. How many of you have seen a video on YouTube? The first employee for YouTube was a lady, Susan. How many of you have been to Yahoo? The first employee for Yahoo was also a lady. So you can see that before you, there's been outstanding ladies that have put in to build the platforms to pave the way for the rest of us to stand in here. Now, we are at a juncture that is speaking of the 4th industrial revolution. We are now at a position that the world has changed. Things have become digital. Opportunities have become global. You can now be in Malawi and apply for a job in the USA, attend interviews and receive your offer letter, accept your offer letter, and start to work for an American company whilst you are in Malawi. That's where now we are. But we cannot be at this point if there wasn't these amazing works that were done by these brilliant women before us. It doesn't mean that the door is closed. Where we're heading, there are now more opportunities and more spaces that are requiring you to break new glass ceilings. The digital space is the only industry and sector that is promising to continue to grow. Agriculture is agriculture. You know, that maize seed, you don't get a new maize seed every other year. The design of the tractor has always been the way it is. The design of the plow has always been the way it is. The design of irrigation systems, they've always been the way they are. But the only thing that is changing in that agriculture space is that now there is mechanization and there is now technology that is coming in, removing a driver from the tractor and enabling that tractor to go and plow on its own, and allowing the drip systems to open the water valves when they detect that the moisture level has dropped. Digitalization. So even if you go to the health sector, in Malawi we have over 300 high-definition X-ray machines that have been deployed and installed by Baobab Health and other guys. Now we have a scenario where a patient can go to Mbalachanda, at Mbalachanda Health Center, and be scanned, and a doctor in Tokyo will examine that X-ray, and that doctor will prescribe what should happen to that person in Mbalachanda. Now, when you look at the distances between Mbalachanda and Tokyo, you see that digitalization has broken the distances. Now you can have a doctor in Japan attending to a patient in Malawi. If you look at broadcasting, we are here physically at the BICC, but there are other people that are watching us live. They're not watching us on big TV screens. They're watching us on small screens, on mobile screens. So you see that computers and digitalization has also broken into that. So there is no sector that is not being touched by digitalization and computing. So this is the only space that, regardless of what your first degree is, you need to now build your first degree, your first skills, bring in an element of digitalization in there. That's where the world is moving to. As we move into this new world, we are now facing a darker space because all of us are being introduced into the digital space for the first time. There are harms, there are crimes, there are all sorts of things that are happening in there. All of us are learning at the same time. Now, this is where the cybersecurity element becomes a very, very critical element that we must all discuss and we must all understand what is happening. From the regulatory perspective, or let me start from the government perspective, the government needs to ensure that the citizens are protected when they move into the cyberspace. That means our laws, our legal frameworks must reflect what is happening in the digital space. In Malawi, the laws that we're using now are 2016. Between 2016 and 2024, you see that a lot of things have changed. The use of WhatsApp has now become so predominant. In 2016, you'd barely find a 5-year-old kid that would know the logo for YouTube and go to YouTube and play Cocomelon. Today, a 2-year-old in a house in Kawari, you give them an iPhone. They'll ask you to open for the password. Immediately you do that, they'll navigate to YouTube and they'll try to find Cocomelon and they'll play it. Those kids are now in a new sphere, are now in a new space that requires proper guarding, that requires proper security and protection. Through MACRA, the line ministry is revising our laws to ensure that we have proper digital laws that are protecting you, the next generation. So we're bringing in about 4 new laws that are there to protect your digital persona as you move into this new world. Once we do that, we now create a space that will require digital skills. This is why we are pushing for the penetration of internet in this country, so that not only girls that are in urban areas have access to digital spaces, but even girls that are in rural Palombe, girls that are in rural Chitipa, girls that are in Namiwawa, girls that are in Area 43. All of them must have access to the same digital spaces. To do that, one, the cost of data must come down. And I'm proud here to mention that over the past 3 years, Malawi has moved to being the most expensive data to today, the most affordable data in Africa. You can clap hands, it's okay. It doesn't mean that everyone can afford, but it means that we have done a collaborative approach to at least reduce the price point. It's not at a point where we should all be happy with. We want it to drop further. It will drop further. The second issue is access to smart devices, because data on its own is nothing. You need a smart device that can connect to the internet. So we started engaging the Ministry of Finance to see if there are certain taxes that can be waived for a period of 2 to 3 years so that we build the population of smart devices. At MACRA, through the Universal Service Fund, we have started the process of establishing a local device assembly plant, device assembly. That means we would want to import components and have you, the youth, build these smart devices in Malawi, hoping that they will arrive at a cheaper price, and therefore all of you, regardless of where you are, you can access these devices. If we achieve getting cheaper devices to you, then the next thing is, let's now build an economy on that. Because now we are the goods. Now we are the items that are on sale. There are very few people and elements, entities that are going online and they're doing digital trade, that they can transact, sell, receive a value, and process that value and play around with that value on digital spaces. Most of you have Mpamba or Airtel money. I bet you the last transaction you did was to top up your airtime, or to send to someone, or to withdraw the money from someone. But there is so much that you can do with your Airtel money and Mpamba. You can pay for your bus. You can pay for your cold drink. You can pay for anything you can think of. Everywhere where we have that hard cash, we should have digital value being pushed up and down. If we do that, we now create a mass market that now we can thrive on. What does thriving on that mass market mean? It means we need now more digital skills. We need more content developers. We need more website programmers. And most importantly, we need more cybersecurity professionals. Because the more people you bring into the digital space, the more harm you are exposing them. Therefore, one of the most lucrative and most well-paying careers and jobs in the next 3 to 4 years is in the cybersecurity space. So if you want to be relevant 5 years from now, cybersecurity is a space for you to go, because it is touching on everyone. It is touching on every government. It is touching on every organization. I'm sure you know and you heard we had an issue with our passports and immigration. That's one isolated incident. But can you imagine if they hacked the Lilongwe water board and stopped the pumps from pumping water from Malingunde to Lilongwe? If they hacked the Lilongwe water board for 6 hours, can you imagine the chaos? Can you imagine the sanitation crisis that would have? Can you imagine babies in Kawari not having access to water for 3 hours? Can you imagine if they hacked a Genco and stopped those machines from producing electricity? These are scenarios that are possible because the Genco water board is connected to the internet. But we need more cyber soldiers. We need more cyber security professionals so that we can be proactive to prevent that from happening. So we are not isolated. We are not insulated from these threats. They can hack your phone. They can hack my phone. They can create a digital person of me. This speech that I'm giving here, they can recreate it and say something else different. And it will look and it will behave like me. We are now in an era of deepfake. In Malawi, we are 12 months away from a general election, which promises to be more digitally driven. So the issue of misinformation, disinformation, issue of wrong messages coming out, these are things that we're going to be exposed to. Already we're dealing with parody accounts on Facebook and other platforms. They're very popular. They produce my VN. Oh, hello. You hear that VN and it goes for 10 minutes and people listen to it because now their attention has gone to the digital space. But as a nation, we should be able to decipher that this is disinformation, this is misinformation, and here they have crossed the line. Alagwitsa, Apwanyalamulo. And law enforcement must come to work on them. So in the digital space that we're in, cybersecurity is the in thing. It is the in thing because it is touching on everyone. Therefore, the theme for this year is befitting. The theme for this year should give you an enlightenment, and it should give you the direction where you should start molding your future to. The future is digital. The future is cybersecurity. I wish you all the best. May God bless you. May God bless Malawi. Thank you.
Thank you, DG. I believe the new generation has been inspired. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Thank you. We shall get right into our presentations. Our first presentation will be taken by Ms. Jacqueline. She is a senior cloud engineer for Cyber Africa GAD in Kenya. She's leading this team. And she's also the co-founder of API Festival. Her presentation is from aspiration to achievement, charting your course in cybersecurity. Ms. Jacqueline, the floor is yours. Just a way of proceeding, she has 25 minutes for her presentation, and then we shall take 3 questions from the floor, and then after she answers them, we'll get into our next presentation. Miss Jacqueline, and a hand for her.
Hi everyone, how are you doing today? Good. So today is a very interesting day. We have had so much from the speakers who've gone before me, and I want to welcome you to my little world of where we get to look at from aspiration to achievements. So imagine a world where every keystroke, every click, and every piece of data is safeguarded by a resilient force of professionals who refuse to back down in the face of digital threats. That's we women, right? Women are the face of resilience in this life. And this is the world we're building. It's the world where we're about to lead and take charge of it. So together, I want us to talk about how do we get to chart our course? How do we get to carve out our path in this space, not just as pioneers of this digital tomorrow, but as the people who are the key front of doing everything that's called for them. It comes to the First Lady talked about being the key players when it comes to innovation, pioneering these changes. So presentation today, we'll get to look at that. And I hope that I get to encourage you, motivate you to go forth and become great in this space. So when you talk about a little bit about myself, as the introduction has said, I am a senior cloud security engineer at CyberGuard Africa. I lead the cloud security team there. Besides that, I have combined experience from being a software developer to now being a cybersecurity engineer. That's something we'll get to talk about. When do you know it's time for you to pivot and do something else in this life? I describe myself as a resilient dreamer. I dream big and believe that it's very possible so long as you put in the work. I am resilient because by nature of being a woman, that is what is expected of you, right? And the life, the challenges that throw at us, we are bound to be resilient in this life. In terms of community impact, that is a bit of what I have done. I sit as a mentor with the CyberGirls Africa program. It's a fellowship for ladies in cybersecurity, trying to upskill and bridge the gender gap in cybersecurity, offering a 1-year cybersecurity fellowship program for ladies in Africa. I am also the co-founder of API Festival Africa, a community that seeks to foster collaboration amongst people who get to interact with the API lifecycle. That is the developers, the designers, integration, security people, literally anyone who gets to touch APIs. APIs, to those who may not understand, APIs are the waiters of the digital society. When you make a call using an app, or let's say you use WhatsApp, right? You're using WhatsApp to do something. There's a function behind the scenes that's calling that text message capability, that posting status capability. So the engineers who design all this behind the scenes work need to collaborate. So that's what I get to do at API Festival. I'm also a cloud security trainer with Africa Hackon. I am passionate about empowering the next generation of women in tech. And this year I was honored to be recognized as part of the top 100 women in cybersecurity in Africa. So we'll get to talk about what are the gender statistics in cybersecurity. How do you charter your cybersecurity course? So there's chartering and there's carving out your space. You need to charter your path and carve out your space. You also need to master your craft and prime your brand, as well as leveraging on networking and mentorship. That is the go-to in this life. The last thing we'll get to talk about is global programs to leverage. I want to talk about global programs because there's something that DJ has said. You're now in an era where you can live in Malawi, do everything in Malawi, but you get to work for global companies, right? If you need to work for global companies, what programs can you leverage to gain the skills that will allow you to be able to even apply for those jobs that are available globally? So we'll talk about a program. And it's something for the ladies here to go home with, to be able to know where else can I study. We know education is a luxury. Not everyone can afford tertiary education. So beyond school, what else can you be able to incorporate into your studies to ensure that you become a wholesome personnel? So let's talk about gender statistics. That's the whole essence of why we're here today, right? So these conversations help us do I look at these events with a threefold to it. So one is for the ladies in the room who've made it. How do you continue to keep the door open to ensure that more ladies are coming into the space and you're guiding them to ensure that they survive and thrive in the space? For the men in the room, you are our allies. How do you continue to create spaces that allow the women to thrive, to be able to know that they can grow and be transformative, think, innovate, and all that? And to the young ladies in the room, how do you look at a world that's so cutthroat and still find what is needed within you, the discipline, the resilience, to survive in a cutthroat world that where you see women are thriving and surviving? So it's a threefold to this event, and I hope that you get to look at which role am I playing in this event and go forth and play it. So when you talk about gender statistics in the world, right now, it's very wanting because globally, women make up 20-25% of the cybersecurity workforce. That's a very small number, thinking how many, what's the world population right now? So for women to make up 20-25%, we're just a fragment of everything that's happening. Down to the African space, we just make up a mere 9%. Mere because 91% are men, so that's just Africa. So ask yourself, in Malawi, what's our percentage? What are we doing to try and bridge the gap? That's where the threefold of these events come into play. So how do we ensure that this 9%, 20-25% is increasing in our capacity, one as a country, two as a continent level, and three, ideally when we contribute country and continent, it makes up the whole country and continent, right? And then it goes to the globe, right? So we have to identify what role are we playing in all this. So there are two things we need to talk about each time you're trying to encourage women to get into the cybersecurity space or pivot in the cybersecurity space. It's twofold. What is your why and what is your how? Your why determines how resilient will you be in this space. When challenges come knocking, when everything goes bad, will you stick with it or you're just going to abandon everything and jump ship? Your why is it's your starting factor and it's your guiding factor. It fuels the fire that keeps you going. There's a study that was conducted by ISC which was asking women, why are you getting in the cybersecurity space? There are random responses given from women saying that I wanted this for career advancement, more money, right? Dr. Bridget said that there are opportunities to be leveraged here. So, and the MC who started talking about that there's money to be made in the cybersecurity space. So for some, that's their go-to. They want the money. But for some, it's, I need to change home. I need to change myself. I need to better myself. Whereas for some, I'm just doing this for fun. So there's no way you can compare she who wants to better herself, change home and earn better to someone who's learning a skill for fun. There's a very big difference in the level of discipline you will have, the commitment you will do. So that is why your why is very important. Why am I going into this? The next thing we get to talk about is your how. How defines how you charter your path. Your how is, how will I learn all this? How will I plan my time? What resources will I use? How will I upskill? It's a very whole conversation, especially when you're getting into the field or you're deciding, I think it's time to pivot. I've been in this field, I've become, let's say you are in the non-technical space of cybersecurity, which is the governance, risk, and compliance, and you decide, I think I want something more. I want something technical. I'm itching for something. Your how helps you define, how will I go about it? What skills can I transfer? Or what do I need to study to move to the very end? Your how helps you achieve your end goal. So the two have to work together. You have to know your whys and you have to know your hows in this life. There's something I keep saying is be very fixed on the goal. If you say you want to become a cybersecurity engineer at the end of the year, I hope you get to celebrate being a cybersecurity engineer. But within the year, be very flexible with your way to get there. Life will send you on 1,000,001 paths. You will be redirected here, you are learning this course, but life came along and you were exposed to something else passively or actively. Be very flexible with the methods you use to get to your goal, but be very fixed and determined with what you want to do in this life. The next thing you get to talk about is how do you carve out your career in this life? It's a 5-step process that I like to commit to, and I keep saying the first thing is you need to recognize that you are a brand. Small or big, whatever your mind is lying to you, first thing is you're a brand. So when you stand in front of people, it's not just a career, it's your brand. And you define that, you need to define what your brand is about. You can say you're a cybersecurity engineer, but what exactly is it about you in cybersecurity? What do people need to know you for? What skills are you very keen on curating to ensure that if you stood here before today, we'd get to say, let me use someone random in the room, like Mary is an incident response. She's very good at it, and you'd be the first person people call to if anything happens, or if they need someone to come give an engaging talk, or help share some research with, they'd come to you because they've identified that that is what you have identified yourself with, that is your brand. The next thing is own your becoming. We're in a life where you will make mistakes, you will win. It's a balance of the two. but you have to ensure that you're bold enough to ensure you're trying it, and you're trying it publicly. Do not be afraid to fail in public or be seen trying. Build your projects online. Go online and tell people, I am learning cybersecurity. It's hard. I am starting. I am doing a 30 days challenge. I am doing these skills and these skills. When you get stuck, help will come to you effortlessly, because community and society likes to see you trying. When you try, help will come to you, right? The next thing is, in cybersecurity and in life, you need to build your T in this life. Depth before breadth. Depth is ensuring that in everything you're studying, you're giving it your all. You have to become really good in your craft, that your skills are undisputed, that no one can come and shake you off your ground and say, I think she's kind of good at it, but I can't really speak for her, right? You have to remove that kind and ensure that when someone is talking about you, Mary or Jackie, they really say, she sounds like she knows what she does every single time. And it just doesn't come with, we've seen leaders in the space who we look up to because of how eloquent they speak in their craft. And you listen to someone and you're like, oh my God, they sound so smart, right? That sounds so smart comes with a lot of long hours working, upskilling. There's passive and active learning in this life. It's all going to be a combination of all that. And once you move up in this life, life will force you to level up. You cannot always be the technical person in your team. There will come a time where you'll have to lead your team. There will come a time where you lead a project, or you'll have to be the one to stand and explain to your non-technicals what is all this in non-technical terms. In the technical world, you will do everything technical, but when it comes to the non-technical, you have to explain to them in a very different way, right? So when that is called upon you, do you have the skills, or do you have what is needed for you to be able to stand in front of that team and deliver right? This is where your breadth comes in. You start building your other skills to ensure that at the end of your entire career, you have a wholesome tea, a tea that is great in depth, and a tea that has its breadth set out for it. The last thing we get to do is you need to be bold and allow yourself to morph. If you wake up today and feel very unfulfilled in your career, I hope you find the courage in you to take a step forward and try and change it. It doesn't have to be something grand or major. Small steps every day will combine and become a great force one day, right? So start where you're at and allow yourself to morph. Even butterflies morph in this life. Aren't we all like butterflies? Like so beautiful, they go through so much, but they still show up every day. So if you're gonna get one thing from this presentation, please, by all means, may it be, allow yourself to morph in this life. So, what is mastering and crafting your brand and priming your brand? For every inlet in this life, there's an outlet. For every river that flows into a lake, there's something. Like, nothing is stationary in this life. So why are you ensuring that your information is stationary in you? Why are you not sharing what you're learning with the world? No matter how small it is, no matter how intimidating you feel, I feel like everyone in the room, I don't know about y'all, but imposter syndrome is one thing we all deal with, right? Is there someone who can explicitly say that they never feel like they are an imposter in this life? Like you wake up and every day you are 150% confident. 81? You'd definitely be the outlier, and we'd want to learn from you. It's very impossible. There are days where life will have you doubting everything you have achieved in this life, right? And that is where you get to have your outlet and share your information you're learning. We've talked about how social media is powerful. Social media is very powerful in connecting us with people who are doing what we're doing. It will help you forge your community out here. You post you're starting to learn something in cybersecurity. Then you find someone else who's also starting to learn. What happens with that? You get to become two people learning together, right? But if you just sit with all you're doing, you will not be able to create the community that you need to help support your journey, because you cannot do this without a community. Use 1,000,001 social medias, but the one thing you need to ensure you have is a LinkedIn profile. We all hang out at social media, but where do the recruiters hang out? Exactly. Recruiters hang out on LinkedIn. This is where you'll find the recruiters for those jobs you want globally or locally. Ensure you have a profile that really stands out and speaks about what you get to do. This is something women shy away from, having a brag sheet and a growth tracker. Pretty sure if a woman today achieved something amazing, they try to shrink themselves or downplay their win. It's just something that innately happens that sometimes you can say it's just hard to control, right? We tend to downplay our wins as women, but we're in an era where brag sheets should be our go-to. You do an amazing thing, write it down. You do something extraordinary to you. Big does not have to be for everyone, but to you, big is your big. You do something, you keep a record of it. The thing with brag sheets, they come really in handy on days when you have to negotiate your worth. It's come a time when you want to request a different pay to move to the next pay group, and they ask you, so what have you done? So when it comes to such a time, will you go back and start thinking, I think I did this last year, I think I did this? A brag sheet will help you be very confident to say, I have done this, I've been doing this, and this is it, this is my progress so far. A growth tracker is key for anyone who's starting out their career or trying to pivot. It will help you analyze, where am I at right now? What skills do I need to learn? You remember the how we talked about? So when you're talking about how, you need a career roadmap. So this is where your growth tracker comes in. Once you have a roadmap, you need a tracker, because you need to track yourself. Where am I at? What am I doing? How much have I achieved? And what is still expected of me? So the two of them have to go hand in hand. You need to keep a brag sheet, and you need to keep your growth tracker. The last thing we get to talk about is networking and mentorship. I stand here today and confidently say I am a product of networking and mentorship. You cannot do this life without the two. Your network is your net worth, literally. Opportunities are posted on LinkedIn, but also opportunities are told to you because you know someone or someone knows what you've been doing, and it's easy for them to refer you before it goes on LinkedIn or it's publicly posted. Your network is your net worth. In such events, connect with people, get to learn what they do, get to hear, I want to get to level X, but I'm a level Y, and I see Judy is doing amazing. What did she do to get that job or do differently? Mentorship, I kept saying mentorship, this is something my mentor told me, mentorship cuts down your noise to achieving your success by half. When you're confused, it's your mentors you go to. And sometimes mentorship doesn't have to always be active. It's passive mentorship. It's a person where you can randomly ask them, I'm feeling a bit stuck here, so what can I do? So leveraging on both active and passive mentorship will take you very far in this life, levels that you didn't think you'd get to experience. So those two are very key, and you need them. When starting out, when growing, when you think you need to rebrand yourself, it cuts across everything. It's not limited to one sector of life. And the last thing we get to talk about is, I hope I've got my 25 minutes. So the last thing we get to talk about is, I hope you get to dare to grow and scale beyond borders. This is a program I was talking about. So for the young ladies in the room, please take a screenshot of this, go share with your friends, apply to the program. It's an amazing initiative. You will learn a lot. So let me pitch this program for a hot minute because it's something you will need. So ideally, the Cyber Girls program, it's a one-year fellowship where you get to learn cybersecurity from novice level to, I want to say, it takes you to 0 to 85. I don't want to say 100 because 15% is always on you, right? So 85%, you move from, I don't know cybersecurity or anything, to the last stage of, oh my God, I now know what cybersecurity is, I have identified my career path, and I am now working to grow towards it. The next thing you get, which is amazing, is mentorship. You have a pool of mentors who on a normal day you will not be able to access. These are ladies who work at Nike, they are VPs, they're senior executives, but they take their time to come mentor you and help you define your path. They've gone before you, they've seen how it is, they know the areas you need to avoid and the things you need to do right. So mentorship is very invaluable, so you have an access to a pool of mentors. And did I say that you get to learn with ladies from all over Africa? This year there are in 22 plus countries, so imagine next year, and I don't think we're in Malawi yet, so we'd want to see people from Malawi applying and getting to study. Education is a luxury, so whenever you're able to take chance of these programs that are catered to women specifically, please go ahead and grab that opportunity with everything in you. And when you're given the chance and you're accepted, study with everything you've got. You know, the whole, you focus on the goal and know what you want to achieve, because with that, you will get to go very far in life. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my presentation, very short and up to brief. So as I leave you, I'd like to conclude with this and say that the future of cybersecurity isn't just about defining systems. It's about to create a world where we all feel safe to innovate. Remember that your journey in cybersecurity is not just a career, it's a mission. It's a mission to protect to empower, and to pave way for the next generation of women. We're in an era where the next world, in 2025, the women population in Africa, in the world, is expected to grow to 30%. And in this 30%, the highest population will be women less than 30 years old. So today, to all the ladies in the room, will you take up the challenge to rise to the challenge and decide that I want to be part of this amazing workforce with everything that is needed of me, resilience, discipline, and everything, focus, purpose, everything you can think of. Will you rise to the challenge and decide that I want to be counted among the 30%? Or will you still stick to saying, I aspire to be in cybersecurity? Or will you actually end up being a cybersecurity analyst, engineer, architect? Give a name to what you do. It gives you power in your mind. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I will ask you to stay in front because we shall take 3 questions. So now I'll open the floor if we have questions for Jacqueline before she takes her seat.
There's a question at the back.
We see you at the back, so we'll have one, and I see a hand at the back as well.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline, for the presentation. It was really very inspirational.
Thank you.
Yeah, but I just want to ask a question because I've seen that your presentation has really focused on personal development in the cyber world for girls. What about the other people, the women in the village, who when I develop myself as a cyber specialist or technical person is going to impact them? Because they are the ones who get hacked. They are the ones who start a business trying to use their WhatsApp and something goes wrong. What can you say about such a focus? Because the cyber world has to go to the 80% of the rural women in Malawi. And they cannot be in cyber, but they can benefit as much. So how can you tell us, how can you link that kind of development to the masses and them benefiting and them not discarding the cyber world altogether, like we'll never use gadgets because we get duped? Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you. So do I answer immediately or do I wait for the next?
We can take the one at the back and you can take those 2.
Okay, fine.
Thank you. Hi, Jacqueline. Thank you for the presentation.
Yes.
Just a little request. It was a bit fast, so I don't know if there's an opportunity to share your slides. I find them helpful, so if you share, that would be appreciated. My question, you talked about that not all of us have done cybersecurity or information security. Our first degrees are not maybe in that field, but then we are all here to kind of dig deep into the cybersecurity space. So my question is that you've shared the Cyber Self Foundation as one platform where we can learn more about cybersecurity. I just wanted to ask if you could share us more platforms, maybe that are free, so we can maybe put our data to use. So if there are any other valuable resources, maybe most of us use YouTube, but we don't know how credible it is to use YouTube to learn cybersecurity. So are there other platforms that we can make use of so that we keep learning in this cybersecurity field? Thank you.
Gladly. So let me first by answering you. The thing about cybersecurity is it has a ripple effect in this life. Every single person who gets to interact with it, that's why I talked about having an outlet. If, let's say, in this room, we all got to learn what is cybersecurity, even the basics of, so there's a foundational cybersecurity where you get to know how do I protect myself, what threats am I facing, and all that. And you decided to be vocal about it, use that as your outlet. On WhatsApp, go tell your people, have two-factor authentication on your social media applications. Stop downloading things that you don't need, or if you're using a laptop, ensure it has X and Y going on. This is where you're getting to share the little information that you think is able to benefit someone else. You're able to assess your audience and see, on my WhatsApp stories, everyone is diverse. I know someone who knows someone. The thing about being able to change everything to the grassroots level, it has to be a ripple effect. You get to learn, you get to share on social media. Someone else takes it up, they get to share, and they get to inform their parents. The first thing we should always start is with our parents. They're the ones who are always the recipients of being hacked or someone conning them or someone. Tell them, stop using, when you have your bank, the application on your phone, don't use it on public Wi-Fi. Like small things that you get to share with them, it becomes a whole ripple effect. Because the journey to ensure that we have 100% of a digital safe world is going to be very hard if we don't all chip into it. And people at the grassroots level are going to reach that information if we all share the little bits we have, and the little bits will get to them. So I will say this, it is a personal challenge to all of us to ensure that we're contributing to the ripple effect that cybersecurity is. So, is that answered? Are you satisfied? I'm seeing you smiling and thinking, so I don't know what you're thinking. But I hope that gets to you, because we all can't do 100% for those levels. We need everyone else to just come on board and help with the challenge. So to answer you about programs, YouTube is always the first place to go to because it has accessible resources. That's why I talked about how. Your how helps you create and analyze these learning platforms that are out there for you to be able to identify what each platform is offering you. There's Simply Learn, there's Coursera, I don't know if Pluralsight is still there. So use Simply Learn, use Coursera, try Hack the Box for your challenges, and try, there's Hack the Box, and there's another one. There's supposed to be two, but Hack the Box is one of the ones. Even Bug Bounty. Yeah, Hack the Box and Bug Bounties, but bug bounties are very hard when you're starting out. So I'd say shy away from them for a while before you get the skills you need, and then now be very confident to go try them out. But I hope that answers you. Good.
Thank you, Jacqueline. A big hand for Jacqueline. Can we please have the program beamed so that we know who's coming next? Thank you for letting us know that we are a brand, and as women, we need to be bold. At the same time, it is our duty to ensure that the women that are around us, are also protected, which is the 80% that is in the rural areas. I'm seeing a hand at the back.
All right, so mine is a question.
Sorry, may we please request you to stand? I would like our cameras to be able to peek where you are.
All right, mine is a question. Thank you for the presentation. I also want to ask and learn that you have presented well about your profile, about your career, but you haven't shared about the experiences that you have faced, like the challenges on social media and how you overcome those challenges, so that we can also learn from the challenges as well.
Thank you. This is the last question that we shall take. Jacqueline.
So when it comes to challenges, so let me start from being a woman in cybersecurity. It's not hard. It's not easy. It gets hard, and there are days you realize that the ratio, even at work, is not in favor of you. You will probably most times be 1:4 or 1:5. Like you will always be the minority in the room. But then what has helped me is to understand that there's power in being the minority. And that is where it comes with be really good at what you're doing, that you become undisputed, that they will always pull a seat for you at the table. You get to the point where you don't have to pull your own seat, someone else will pull your seat. Challenges in the women workforce, that's one of them. Being the minority in the room and feeling like you need to be silent at every meeting. So, as women in the space, we always cry and request for a chance at the table. But given a chance at the table, what are you going to say? What are you going to speak? So you need to fill your cup with so much value that once the table seat opens up for you, you will over-deliver that. You know the way you over-deliver and they want to have you again and again and again? That's the standard you should set. Out there, the word is a cutthroat. when it comes to social media, using social media, the cyber bullies, there's your account getting hacked or something happening. Small cybersecurity hygiene practices. Ensure that you have two-factor authentication on your phone every single time. Ensure even the sites you're going to are not flagged or something of the sort that can help you. So there's a small thing. So this is a bit technical, but if you're using your phone, at the top when you're searching for a website, there's always that HTTP at the top, right? If you find it has a P without the S at the end, it should be HTTPS. So most times when you find the S is not missing, S is for security in this life. So those are the small things that need to tell you that that website is not secure. So for all information you're getting to share on that website, ensure that there's no personal information you're getting to divulge. If things you're working with are requesting you for a little bit of personal information, let me say this, move in this world with a pinch of salt for everything you get to do. Look at something and look at it twice before you actually engage with it. Be very doubtful. In cybersecurity, we say there's something we call zero trust, where we say trust no one, right? And no one can be a system, a user, an application, a website, literally everything. Even you as a person, move with the mentality of trust no one and be very skeptical of what you're doing online. Cyberbullies are a very big challenge to face. Honestly, I will not be the best person to answer you on how to deal with cyberbullies. I really shy away from anything that calls for conflicts in this life, but I'd love to hear from someone else who's been able to answer, deal with them, and have like a solution that can be implemented, something we can learn from them. So for that, I will answer you like that.
Thank you, Jacqueline. For the cyberbullying, we do have a panel, a high-level panel, so I'll be sure to catch that one. We shall discuss cyberbullying in detail, and we also have presentation on good cyber hygiene. So we hope that we'll be able to give you some tips on how you can handle yourselves online. With time, we might not be able to take all questions from the floor, but we encourage networking. We encourage that if you have a comment, a question, you want to learn deeper, please meet the speakers and they can help you one-on-one. Our next speaker is Mr. Exile Njoka. This is an ally. He is a cybersecurity specialist. He founded Cyber Flames, and he's also had various tech initiatives. Mr. Njoka is going to present on cybersecurity and the cybersecurity ecosystem. I think the Macra DG had touched on the cybersecurity, the digital ecosystem. So Mr. Njoka is going to touch on the cybersecurity ecosystem. Mr. Njoka, the floor is yours.
Good morning. I'm so nervous. Okay, let's start. Good morning. My name is Exile Njoka. I'm a cybersecurity specialist. I have been in the field for more than 10 years now. Can I have the presentation beamed, please? So I've seen a lot of distinguished guests here. I recognize you all. And let me use that famous phrase to say all protocols observed. As I was coming for this presentation, somebody sent me a message. If currently you go on the Facebook page of National Publications Limited, you'll see that 35 minutes or 40 minutes ago, they posted a story that a young lady aged 17 has been arrested because they are suspecting that she has murdered a 10-year-old boy. And this has happened because there is a so-called boyfriend who they were interacting on Facebook. They have never met, who has been asking her to do a lot of things, including this incident of murder. But to cut the story short, it all started when they met on Facebook, as some do. They met, they started interacting. Before you knew it, the chemistry started. Then the man on the other side started requesting for nudes, and the lady started sharing nudes. Next time, the man started requesting for more things, pornographic videos and the like, and the lady sent. And just after that, the man started putting demands to say that if you don't give me this, then I'm going to leak this information. And if you check the news now, the lady is now in custody because it reached an extent that she was told that she needs to offer a sacrifice. And a good soul is gone just like that. So when I stand and talk about cyber issues, these are the issues which are really here with us, affecting us. I remember when I started practicing more of these issues, that was in 2010, people used to say that, is in the Zagunja. These are foreign things, these are not for Malawi. But we are in a connected world. These things, they are here and they are here to stay. And it's up to all of us to hold hands and fight these threats which are here with us. So yeah, as I said, I'm ex-Zaonjoka. Now I've gathered the momentum. This is my second time standing in Women in Cyber. Last time I was here, my head was almost chopped because of a certain panel discussion. So I promise today, I want to be in any panel discussion. After this, I'm done. Okay, so let's start. What are we discussing today? We are talking about cybersecurity and its ecosystem. So we are going to focus on these 4 main points, just giving an overview of the challenges we are having, the cybersecurity overview, the ecosystem, and how do we get involved. So just for my delivery's sake, how many of us are novice, are just starting, or they don't know anything about security? Let me just see your hands. Like maybe they just hear about cybersecurity, they are not in the field. Maybe cybersecurity is rocket science to them, because I also have to tailor my presentation based on that. Let me just see hands quickly. So I should assume that 90% are pros, yeah? Okay. Fine, let's proceed. So, yesterday as I was preparing, I had this questionnaire which I shared with my 40 female friends yesterday night. Which of the following do you keep secret religiously? And give a reason for your answer. age, personal journal, your WhatsApp with besties, national ID, and others. I got almost 90% of response, about 32 people answered, and I'll share the results at the end of the day. I hope you can guess which one is winning there. Which one is it? Okay, so what are the challenges? As I've said, we are at a war. There are a lot of threats out there due to the connectivity which has come with the internet. So there are a lot of threats which we are daily encountering on a personal level, on a level as a country, or an international level. Some of the challenges, the first one is the one which I've already said: social media, fake news happening on social media. And a bad example is the one which I already shared about that lady. But we have also some 3 examples. We had an issue at immigration. I hope if you are a Malawian, you all know that. Some of you were in the forefront of Facebook, laughing, sharing a lot so that international people may know that you are in crisis. But you know, we are in a war. We are at a war. When a country goes in a war, it's not a time to laugh or create more content on social media. It's a time to stand together as a country. So we had that crisis, and we know we are just recovering from that. So these are some of the issues happening because of the cyber threats happening around. We have issues of mobile money. 2023, there was a report by Macra that states that we were losing monthly around $115,000 in mobile money frauds. That issue where somebody was asking a question to say that how do we educate our grandmothers at the village? You know, because those are the ones who are more vulnerable. So we have been losing almost a lot of money because of these cyber threats. We have had a recent crisis which affected almost the whole world, the CrowdStrike crisis. For those who don't know, CrowdStrike is a cyber security vendor which offers a cyber security solution. So this is used by most of major IT players and companies in the world. You talk of airports, you talk of financial institutions, you talk of health institutions. And it happened that that was 17th July, there was some crisis which caused a lot of machines to go down on the internet and causing unavailability of services. So airplanes were disturbed, you talk of hospitals were disturbed, you talk of banks were disturbed because of that crisis. So these are some of the threats, and as you can see, it's not just about individual threats. As a country, we are facing these threats. As a world, we are facing this threat. So these are the threats which you and I has to come together and fight. So, my presentation today, I'll mostly focus on just introducing the topic. I know some are just coming into the field, some they are into IT, but not in this field. Some they are in different fields, and they just want to have an understanding of cybersecurity. I've always said that cybersecurity is for everyone. Whether you are in legal, whether you are a journalist, whether you are in business administration, wherever you are, cybersecurity is relevant, and you can build a career of cybersecurity from wherever you are. So what is this animal called cybersecurity? So when we talk about cybersecurity, we are talking about protecting systems, networks, and data from digital attacks, from threats which I've mentioned. So you would see that some of these threats can be threats for our personal phones, those WhatsApp from besties. There are some people who can want to access that information, so that is a threat altogether. So when you talk about cybersecurity, we're trying to make sure that that critical information which we want to keep DLA secretly has to be secured. So whether personal information, whether information in our organization, whether information of the country, we have to make sure that we secure this information. And for cybersecurity, there are three pillars that make up cybersecurity. There is confidentiality. Under confidentiality, what we are saying is that if we say that this information is private, let that information be private and only accessible to people who are authorized to have access of that information. Secondly, integrity. When you talk about integrity in cybersecurity, what we are saying is that information should be intact for the use without being tampered by anybody else. A good example, I love to say that if today I want to share 100,000 kwacha to my grandma at the village, I don't want a situation whereby when I send her 100,000 kwacha, she receives 10,000 kwacha. It means that somewhere, somehow, integrity of that transaction has been compromised. So what we are saying is that if the transaction is 100 kwacha or 100,000 kwacha as I'm initiating it, whoever is receiving it should still get 100,000 kwacha intact without tampered. The third aspect that is a pillar of cybersecurity is availability. In availability, what we are saying is that critical information should be available to intended users each and every time they want to use that information. A good example, when you are home around 2 a.m. and Magesazima, you don't want a situation whereby you try to buy electricity and your token is not coming. It means that you will be disturbed. Imagine maybe you had somebody who is sick, you still want power around. So you want at that particular time whereby you have purchased your electricity, whether from Pamba, whether from mobile money, you need to make sure that you get that electricity. So each and every time you are looking for a critical service, it needs to be available at each and every moment in time. So that's the availability aspect of it. That is why when you look at an issue like that of immigration, you see that one of the aspects which was affected was an availability part, whereby you go to have access to your passport, you want to produce your passport to travel, you can't find that service because there is an incident. So we are saying that we have to make sure that that critical information is always available for our use. These three are the three pillars of cybersecurity. So that is why I said that in each and every sector, wherever you are, you will see that these three issues will be applicable. Whether you are in media, this is applicable. Whether you are in business administration, this is applicable. Whether you are a nurse, this is applicable. As a nurse, you need to make sure that information about your customers, who are the patients, are kept confidential. That is an aspect of cybersecurity. So wherever you are, I can here tell you to say that this is where you can specialize cybersecurity. Now, the ecosystem. When you look at the ecosystem, we are just looking at all the stakeholders, all the parameters that make up cybersecurity. So, when you look at the ecosystem, you see that what I've presented to you, they are just some of the aspects or some of the stakeholders that are critical in cybersecurity. The first one, government policy makers and regulators. A good example, MACRA. Those are critical stakeholders, making sure that we have good regulation to manage or regulate the cyberspace. So you know already, MACRA has been working on different acts We have the Cyber Security Act, we have the Data Protection Act, there are the E-Transaction Act, all those trying to make sure that it governs the operations or implementation of cyber security. So that's one of the key stakeholders in the ecosystem. Secondly, we are looking at goods and service providers. So people like banks, people like utility providers, these also are a critical component in the ecosystem. We have to make sure that they are also cyber better, so that whatever we do as companies, individuals, it's also secure. So those are also critical in the ecosystem. There are third-party service providers who we also have to critically look at. A case which I was talking about on CrowdStrike, whereby CrowdStrike is a third-party service provider, but because of a small glitch which they had, it affected almost different stakeholders. So we also have to make sure that we critically look at third parties like this. There are researchers, cyber security researchers, and ethical hackers like myself, users, you and I, who are using technology. We have to make sure that we understand cyber security, we understand issues of cyber hygiene. We have security vendors, companies like Kaspersky, Sophos, those who are offering cyber security products. We have incident response team, a team like the Macraset, people who are helping us to deal with issues as they come. And we have threat actors. Threat actors are now, these are the people, organized group, who are coming in, bringing those threats. And these are people who are not religious about it. They don't care what you're going to lose. They are there just to make sure that they access your critical data, they access your financial data, they access anything which they can find valuable from you, so that they benefit from it. Now, how do we get involved? Firstly, get relevant training and train others. I think the last speaker took much time talking about this. There are institutions like IS2, they are offering free cyber security training. Last year I was here preaching to say that people enroll, I'm going to help you, taking you through the course which they are offering. I will tell you for sure, after all that preaching, only one has managed to certify. So let's make sure that we learn, because that's how we can get better. EC Council, they are also offering free courses on cyber security. SANS, Cyber Frames as well, we also offer free training just to make sure that as together we are building an army which can give about a better cyber immunity as a country. Identify mentors. You need to find mentors who can help you. Sometimes you cannot do everything on your own. Find people who have already gone a step ahead of you. Sit under them, learn, understand what they know, and build from there. Their skills, the skills of another mentor, plus your skills will make you a better person. Get involved in communities. Events like this, come and participate. Share notes, ask questions. Make sure that you are here participating. Be an ambassador. My granny at the village doesn't know anything about computers, doesn't know anything about cybersecurity, doesn't know anything about mobile threats. It is my responsibility, somebody who has a basic knowledge of cybersecurity, somebody who has knowledge of cybersecurity, to go and tell my grandmother to say that if you forward this to 10 people, you never get breast or you never get money. Please don't do this. Okay? So it is our duty to make sure that we take charge of that. Otherwise, nchito yende ikulu and nchito ndochepa. It will depend on you and I to make sure that we push. Reaching this far, I will take questions. As I told you, my duty was just to introduce to you cyber security, so that when the other speakers are coming, now they'll go deeper and build from whatever I've talked about. Thank you so much.
We open the floor. We are taking 3. We have 1. We have 2. We'll start with her, and I'll come to you.
Thank you so much, Exal, for the presentation. My name is Mercy Nagoli from UNIMA. I'm in my final year doing computer science. I have 2 questions. The first question is based on what you talked about, the story of the girl. I think for me, at first, I just saw that as things that happen. I didn't know that there are actually serious things, like serious crimes, where when we get on the internet, we can, get exposed to so many other things. What is being done to make sure that everyone gets involved and everyone will treat this thing with urgency and know that they have a part to play? The other question that I have is, how do you evolve from any ICD related field to get into cybersecurity? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jessica Chienda. I'm an intern at Tipese Flea Market. Personally, I'm a DJ content creator. Lately, I've been focusing on youth development, digital thriving, and I was just sharing content on ethical hackers a few days and hours ago. And then you said you're an ethical hacker, and you're also in cybersecurity. I know that these two are linked, but I feel like the question would be similar to hers. But how did you evolve from, or where did you start from? Did you start with focusing on ethical hacking, or did you learn programming first, or how did the journey go? Thank you.
We take 1 more. Where's the mic?
Thank you so much. My name is Jean. My question is, you talk about the 3 pillars of cybersecurity. That's the availability, confidentiality of the data. So my question is, how to achieve those 3 pillars? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. The first question was from Messi, from UNIMA. I think what she was asking is that what is being done, because these issues are here. I remember last time I was here, I was even preaching on the same to say, people of God, if you have notes in your phone, delete, because anything can happen. We laughed as we have laughed, but do you know that within that session somebody had leaked that as well? That same session. So I'm going to repeat that again. People of God, if you have something private, which you don't want anybody to see and it's in your phone is connected to the internet, anything can go wrong. So please, delete. That's the first thing which we are doing. We are sending awareness. Okay, I'm saying this because mistakes happen in the cyberspace. Sometimes you want to share that with your beloved one, accidentally you share at a church WhatsApp forum. Once that it's gone for good. The beauty about the internet doesn't forget. So that's the beauty about it. So please don't be somebody who is going to beautify the internet with those things. So please delete. So what is being done? you see that there is a lot of cyber hygiene awareness happening around. With MACRA, we have had sessions whereby we have been talking much about it on social media. There have been a lot of initiatives. The problem is, I just feel like either is the people who are in front of cybersecurity or who already know cybersecurity that we are not doing enough to speak cybersecurity to the people in the language which they should understand, or the people just choose not to listen. I'll give you a good example. There was an outbreak of Facebook page takeover, hacking. I think there was some month you will see a lot of celebrities losing their Facebook account. I conducted an online webinar free of charge. I advertised with my money to make sure that it reached anyone. You know how many registered? Less than 100 people. Yet even on my adverts, the reach was more than 100,000. But only less than 100 people participated. Just after that webinar, I got 3 calls from some public figures saying that they want me to help them to recover their page. So I don't know whether the message is not reaching or maybe the people are just choosing to ignore. So, but all in all, there have been a lot of initiatives, and even what we are doing now, we are sending the message to make sure that you as well, you send a message outside there. The second question, which is also, I think, the question from Jessica, I think it's a related question. How did I reach here? So now, I did my undergraduate, and I specialized in computer science. But while I was specializing in computer science, I realized that there was a bigger gap in cybersecurity, and that was in 2010. 2010, few people were talking about cybersecurity locally. So we are one of the early voices which we started talking about cybersecurity and the like. So I just grew interest in that. So now as a computer science student, mostly with our curriculum, I was groomed as a software developer, which also helped me and has helped me much in as far as where I'm sitting today is concerned. But for a better roadmap, for you to pursue cybersecurity in general, if you want to specialize what we call GRC. GRC is governance, risk, and compliance in cybersecurity. So now we're just looking at the governance part, what regulations are there, what standards are there, how best can we implement that. That you don't require a bigger background in IT. You can start from wherever you are coming from, you just need passion. Because there it's more about governance, it's all about regulations, it's all about understanding standards, it's all about basic elementary thing to do with implementation of cybersecurity. So that you can start from wherever you are. At some point, when you are starting in cybersecurity, what is famous in cyber is being a hacker. So whenever you are starting, everybody get excited about being a hacker. So if you are somebody who is excited to be an ethical hacker, I will encourage that you have a good, solid understanding of software development. You have a good, solid understanding of networking. You have a good, solid understanding of analyzing things, systems, documentation, or processes. With these basic things, you should be able to start in pursuing being an ethical hacker. So once you have these basics, you can pursue courses like Certified Ethical Hacker, which is offered by EC Council. My best course, which I always recommend, which is an advanced level course, is what we call OSCP, Offensive Security. Now this one is for those now who are in an advanced stage in ethical hacking, and several others. So I think in a nutshell, that's what I can say. But there are also other different specification, I mean specialization. There was, the last speaker was in crowd security. In also crowd, you also need to have a basic understanding of crowd and the rest of the information which I've already shared, and a lot of specialization. So I cannot exhaust it, as I've said, because cybersecurity is broad, is applicable in each and every field. If you are in finance and you want to specialize maybe security under the finance domain, the first thing which you have to understand is to understand your domain which you're working in. Then you see how best you can fit in cybersecurity in that domain. I think that's what I would say on that. The third question, the 3 pillars of cybersecurity: CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. How do we achieve it? I will leave much of this discussion to the other speakers, because I've seen that in their presentation, they are covering much of that. But there are different use cases. A good example, let's take on a personal level. You are using your phone. How do you achieve confidentiality when you're using your phone? One, making sure that you have proper authentication on your phone, and that is password, which is my favorite. Of course, there are biometrics, which is the fingerprint, either the facial recognitions, and any other. I love passwords because when I'm sleeping, somebody cannot come and take my finger and authenticate on my phone, which have been cases which I know they have happened. So password is something which is in your memory. It's only you who knows. So password for me is the best. So make sure that you have password on your phones. And my last sister was also talking about using 2-factor authentication. Nowadays, when you are on banking application, they are encouraging you to use 2-factor authentication. 2-factor authentication, if you don't know it, is this one. They will ask you for your username and password to access your bank account. But when you enter those credentials, they will also ask you to say that we have sent you a code to your email or to your WhatsApp or to your text message. Use that code to authenticate so that you complete logging in. That is the 2-factor authentication. Unfortunately, what I've noted is a lot of users hate 2-factor or multi-factor authentication. They are saying that it is tedious. But unfortunately, this is the price we have to pay because of the threats which are out there. And I will please ask you to make sure that you have it on your Facebook page, whether on your Twitter, whether on your LinkedIn, anywhere, any platform which is supporting 2-factor, make sure that you have that enabled. I think that's what I can share on that one in the interest of time, but I think we can share much outside. I'm here the rest of today, we can discuss much. I hope I haven't flooded you with jargons. It is always difficult to prepare a basic presentation as a cybersecurity expert because you don't know where to start from, but I hope it has been informative. Now, finally, to go back to my question, what do you keep secret the most? 53% voted for personal journal or their diary. They are saying that, from the comment which I got, they are saying that any bad things they want to say to somebody, instead of telling them in their face, they will just tell them in their journals. In that way they stay safe, they are not beaten. Some, they are saying that their journals keep sensitive information. I was shocked to hear that somebody made mention that they keep their passwords, their email credentials, and their journals. I would discourage you from doing that. I know we are in the world whereby we require a lot of passwords, but writing that somewhere is not the best way to keep it. They said 25% of the respondents said that their WhatsApp with their bestie, that one is the most critical place. Somebody said that if that information is revealed in public, I'll be arrested. Somebody said, hell will break loose if that information is in public. Somebody says, she is my gist partner, I cannot betray her by revealing my information. So all in all, I only saw that only one person mentioned that they keep their nation ID religiously. But you know, if your nation ID, somebody can reset your Mpamba account, they can register another account using that, and do a lot of things. So in general, all these parameters, parameters I had mentioned, the age, personal journal, WhatsApp, nation ID, bank balance, these are personal things which you need to keep dear from any other public eye. So my name is Exao Njoka, and I'm still here if you want to talk anything about cybersecurity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Njoka. I'm sure one or two of our next generation will take you up on those courses, and we shall delete those things in our phones. May we set up for our next session? May we set up for our next session? As we are setting up for our next session, I've noted that I think cyber hygiene has come out clearly. Luckily for us, we have Council Mlenga, who will take us through issues of cyber hygiene. As Makra, we have been preaching that a lot. I think as Mr. Njoka has said, we had conducted a few awareness campaigns to ensure that we all know how we can be safe online. Because it is true that whatever we post online stays online. The internet doesn't forget. And that goes to each and every one of us. The internet does not forget. So don't post anything that you would not want to see while you are sitting for a job interview. Because nowadays, these employers are going to search your name online. So ask yourself, the things that they find, would you want your future employer to find that profile of yours? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. So let us be mindful as young women and ladies. On our agenda, may we please beam our agenda again? May we please beam our agenda so people know what's happening? We have two more agenda items. The first one is a fire chat, which I'm very excited about, and then we'll have our last presentation for this morning session that has spilled into afternoon. Don't forget to tag us when posting. I think Jacqueline had said that as women, we tend to downplay our achievements. Being in this room with these incredible women, we've got so many. We are privileged to have so many incredible women. We have Justice Ntaba with us. We have our Director of Legal Services, Tokozani Chimbe, who is also the chairperson of the Women and Girls in Cyber. We have the chair of the Media Committee of Parliament as well. So being in this room with these amazing women is no mean achievement. So let us be proud. Let us post and tag Makra on this one. May I also have the microphones? As I'm introducing the next speakers, may we have their profiles being beamed? Because we want to get into our next session. This one is a fire chat that I will be having with 3 amazing, incredible women. And we are having it under the theme, Trailblazers in Cyber. These are the Malawi CERT, first responders paving the way. I think Exile spoke a little bit about the Malawi CERT. Thank you for introducing our next topic for us. In short, the Malawi CERT, which is an abbreviation, stands for the Malawi Computer Emergency Response Team. This team is responsible for the national coordination of protection of critical information infrastructure. We'll get to know more about what these critical information infrastructures are and what the Malawi CERT does, who they serve, and some of the experiences these ladies have had sitting at this national level. Our first panelist for this fire chat is Magodisi Dozola. Magodisi has 4 years working experience with the Malawi CERT. She was instrumental in the establishment of the Malawi CERT, and she has over 10 years experience working in IT. Magodisi. Our second speaker is Ella Hamwaka. Ella Hamwaka is a cybersecurity specialist. She's working as an incident response officer with the Malawi CERT. She has vast experience working in cybersecurity. She has worked with the MDF as well as the Malawi government. Ella Hamwaka, everyone. We have Naomi Kaponda. Naomi attended last year's Women in Cyber. Her story, I hope, will inspire somebody in this room. We had an exercise last year where young girls were competing, and Naomi came out on top of over 40 girls that were competing in various cyber drills. Naomi got the chance to work with the Malawi CERT to get hands-on experience on how it feels like to work in the sector. Naomi, everybody. Thank you, ladies. I think now we should get into our discussion for the day. We'll start with Magodisi. She was instrumental in the establishment of the Malawi CERT. Now, Magodisi, may we please hear from you what Malawi CERT is? What do you do? Who do you serve?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Leme. Thank you all for coming to this conference. I'll start by saying Malawi CERT stands for Malawi Computer Emergency Response Team. We are a team of men and women that work within MACRA. Malawi CERT is a unit within MACRA that that was established by the Electronic Transaction Act of 2016 as a focal point to coordinate cybersecurity issues in the country. So though we are based at MACRA, we look at issues, cybersecurity issues at national levels. And at national level, mostly our target stakeholder or constituents, organizations that are critical, we call them critical information infrastructures. These critical information infrastructures, we mean that there are organizations that when something happens to their systems, they might have an impact to the nation as a whole. So we work with them where we provide advisory services, and we also work with in other terms, we also work with both in government and private sector. These critical information infrastructures, they are both in government and private sector. And we also work with the general public just to make sure that Malawi as a whole is safe from any cyber threats or vulnerabilities. And we do all these through both reactive and passive ones. Reactive is like when organizations report to us the incidences that they have, we go and assist where need be. While on the other hand, we produce reports that we always inform our stakeholders on the threats or the vulnerabilities that are out there, just alerting them on what they should do to protect their systems from any cyber threats. That's, in a summary, that's what we do at Malawi State. Thank you.
Thank you, Magodisi. I think the Macra DG had pointed out that imagine if Waterboard was hacked. How would that affect the country? So Magodisi has highlighted that as Malawi CERT, they are serving these institutions that own these systems, that if anything would happen to them, they would have a ripple effect on Malawi. Ella, would you like to add on that one?
Thank you so much. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. As already introduced, I am Ella Hamwaka. So yes, I just wanted to add on the issue of the way Malawi CERT works in terms of being reactive. So I know that we all understand that for there to be a reaction, I'm sure I've also learned this in biology to say, for there to be a reaction, there has to be stimuli. So there needs to be something to provoke. So what we do at Malawi CERT is, in the case of being reactive, is there has to be a trigger. So our trigger is an incident. So the first thing that is important from your end or any stakeholder's end is that it needs to be reported first. So there are several ways that one can report to Malawi CERT. So we have a website, and our domain is quite simple. So our domain is www.mwcert.mw. So this is where one can report. The minute you access our website, you get to see a part or a button that shows you to report an incident. So once an incident is reported through a form, we have a form that's available on the website. Once an incident is reported through our website, we are the team behind Malawi CERT. So there's always somebody to respond to your incident. So as already talked of earlier, I am an incident response officer. So Malawi CERT also follows the NIST framework, which is just one of the cybersecurity frameworks that we follow. So as of current, we have the NIST cybersecurity framework 2.0. So that's the framework that we're following at the moment, and it's just a guideline for us to respond to incidents. So it talks about how we handle incidents once received, how we transfer information as well as handle it ourselves, and how we can mitigate the risks or attacks that have taken place. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ella. We've
spoken about these critical information infrastructure holders, which are your stakeholders. But now I want to find out, we do have the general public. Are those your stakeholders as well? And how do you serve them? Naomi?
All right. As the lady mentioned, my name is Naomi Makopara-Kaponda. I will highlight how we can respond when an individual faces such kinds of incidents. So we don't only help organizations, we can also help individuals like you. Let's say your Facebook account has been blocked or hacked. We help you. Like Era said, we have those reporting sites, so you can fill the form and specify your type of incident as well. And on the other part, we do act proactive as well as reactive. On proactive, we create awareness campaigns whereby we reach out to people, sensitizing them about the cyber hygiene. On the reactive part, I can say when you report your incident to us, there are further steps we take to help you recover your data and your account so that they can stay secure at all times.
Thank you. Magodisi, these incidences, they can be sometimes criminal in nature. For example, if I am being cyberbullied, can I come to Malawi CERT? What is your jurisdiction? What can you help me with and what can't you help me with? And who do you work with as a Malawi CERT to save your constituents better?
Thank you, Remy. Like earlier highlighted, we have several stakeholders that we work with, and just like anyone else is able to report to us about incidences, and we receive different incidences. And when we receive an incident, as a team, we have to evaluate the incident. What is it all about? Or is it that something that we have to handle, or we refer the incident to other stakeholders, like incidences that are criminal in nature. We usually refer them to Malawi Police, the Cyber Crimes Unit, where they handle such incidences. And when there are other incidences that we handle as Malawi said, and the other incidences that we handle with other stakeholders. Like when we are handling incidences to do with Facebook, we have a working relationship with Facebook. So we always report to Facebook on behalf of the individuals or organizations so that the incidences will be addressed. So in a nutshell, we work with different stakeholders at different levels in handling our incidences. And depending on the incident, it's handled by Malawi CERT or the other stakeholders, mainly the Malawi Police. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I ask our technical team to please beam the Malawi CERT so that we know the reporting procedure and we are conversant with the reporting procedure? Thank you, Makodisi. I think we've heard that they are both reactive as well as proactive. In terms of reactive, you have to initiate and report. In terms of being proactive, they take time to test your systems to ensure that your systems are safe, and they write reports and they send them to this organization telling them about their vulnerabilities just to instill trust. I think the DG had said earlier on that as Malawi, we are working towards building a digital economy. And the only way that we can achieve this is to ensure that the users feel safe and secure when using these systems. So these are the ladies that are ensuring that on a national scale. I think that's no mean achievement, ladies. Isn't that right? Now we are going to talk about experience. You've told us that you're handling these incidences, so I would like to hear from you. Ella, you've been in this field for a long time. We want to hear your experience. When I was reading your profile, I've seen you've worked with MDF, you've worked with Malawi government, you've been in the field for a while. So I want to hear from you. What are some of your experiences as a cybersecurity specialist, as well as your experiences working with the Malawi CERT?
Thank you so much. So I'm going to first of all start with my experience from the very beginning. Cybersecurity is a new field. It's ever growing, and I believe it's the fastest growing at the moment. I'm just glad to see that we're having more cybersecurity specialists come in. So in the very beginning, I'll first of all tell you, and this is specifically to the girls or anybody that's trying to do school. It doesn't matter your age. I just want to let you know that it's okay for you not to know what you want to do in the very beginning. Because when I went to university, I went to do computer science engineering. But when I got there, I said, this is not what I want. And it's okay to feel that way. But you have to know that it's not okay for you to stay where you think you shouldn't be. So I changed to cybersecurity. And yes, all went well. I managed to graduate. And yes, when I graduated, now going into the corporate world was a little difficult. Because every time I talked to a prospective employer and said, hi, can I intern at your office? Or hi, can I work for your office as full-time? They would ask me, what do you do? So I believe that the response that was most expected from me was, I don't know, a programmer and everything else. Yes, I'm a programmer, but I am originally a cybersecurity specialist. So when I tell them I studied cybersecurity and I'm a cybersecurity specialist, the response was always very disappointing because they would ask me, oh, have you tried the security companies? So the ones that would be recommended to me are G4S, for example. And it was disappointing because I have gone to university to study, and I'm so excited. So the excitement kicks in when you're in university because you say, you know, I know my cousin has stayed without a job for 5 years, but I'm different. Once I finish school, I'm finding a job. That's not always the case. And it was way worse for me when I got my degree because people did not know about it. But as time went by, I am pleased to have worked with the Malawi Defense Force, and we got to collaborate on a very good note because I can surely tell you that the relationship that I made with the Malawi Defense Force does not just end there. It's been extended and it's helped me further my career. And it's the same with Department of E-Government, which is under the Ministry of Information. So in terms of Malawi CERT, I'll be honest with you. Malawi CERT has pushed to put cybersecurity on the map in this country. And it's also given me a platform to show my skills as well as grow them. If we did not have a national office that handled cybersecurity issues, I don't think I would have been experienced or be confident to sit in front of you today and say I am a cybersecurity specialist. So whenever, I will assure you that whenever you report an incident, it is a secret. Do not think that, I think as Exile said in his presentation, to say, delete those nudes. Indeed, delete them. But there have been cases where incidences have come in to say these things have been leaked and all of that. So we have gotten to handle such situations, and that is on personal levels. So do not be afraid that whatever you share with the Malawi CERT will go out to the public. We operate under what is known as the traffic light protocol. So we operate strictly most of the time under TLP red based on the incident that you have. So TLP red just means that if you share with us, we're going to share with you, and we're not going to share with anybody else. Yeah, so this is just briefly talking about my experience with the Malawi CERT and the previous officers. Thank you.
Thank you. Magodisi, would you like to chip in on maybe some of the incidences that you handle, the common ones, and maybe a few tips?
Mostly the incidences that are reported at Malawi CERT to do with social media platforms, where people, they would report that their accounts have been hacked, and we always assist accordingly. The other incidences that people report to Malawi CERT, incidences to do with money fraud, and money fraud is big, as most of you may know, that we are in a digital world, and mostly we are doing our transactions digitally, transferring money, buying things, and doing all sorts of things. And in the course of making transactions, most people face social engineering. I can call them social engineering, whereby people do say, you want to buy this, send money to this, when it's not real, or you've won a prize. There are maybe messages coming in like, you've won this, but before you claim your prize, you have to send us this amount of money. Or you want a job, before you get a job, you have to register here, so that they can steal your information, your ID, your national ID. And these days, the national ID is like, the national ID is like everything that you have. It's what identifies you. If someone get hold of your national ID, it's like he or she can do anything with it. So what we do is proactively we emphasize on people recognizing that they have to be aware of these social engineering techniques that the robbers or thieves use to get money or to get your information. Because sometimes it's not even about the money, it's the information that you have that they want, so that they can use it to tarnish your image, or use it in ways that are not good for you. So always, please, when you're sharing your information, your especially ID, private information, please make sure that you stay safe. Don't share your pins. You can't win what you didn't join. You can't win a prize when you didn't join any competition. You can't receive anything that you haven't even registered. So it is important to be vigilant on our own, to be able to see or realize that this thing is not real. Thank you.
Magodisi is trying to highlight that the systems in themselves can be secure, but if we do not educate the user, then we might not achieve what we are trying to achieve. Just because you are safe and secure in your house does not mean you have to sleep with the doors unlocked. So Magodisi, It was trying to just highlight that we need to ensure that as the end users as well, there's a psychology that these hackers, these mobile fraudsters are using, that they're constantly evolving. They usually wait until it's time where people are receiving money from the government, and then they'll send you a message that you have won into Kulaba Komo. But for them to send you the money, you need to send them a little something for you to be able to get access to that money. So we are just trying to raise awareness from the human aspect of it. So Malawi CERT is doing both the systems as well as looking at the human aspect and trying to give you the skills that you need to ensure that you're safe while you're navigating the digital spaces. Ella, would you want to come in?
Yes, I just want to add on to say that girls, this is specifically for you. If you're looking into getting into the field of cybersecurity, please do have the confidence to do so. And these are one of the very important skills that you need to have when you're getting into cybersecurity, soft skills. I believe some schools in Malawi are also prioritizing it in their curriculums, but in other countries, it's literally a course that one needs to pass for them to go to their next semester. So let us build confidence. Because for you to work in places such as the Malawi CERT, you're going to approach a lot of people. You need to have very good interpersonal and social skills. So you need to know how best to help and analyze a situation as well. Another thing that I'm going to add on is that girls, and women, we are way below, because when you look at the cybersecurity specialists at an international level, we are way behind. Cyber just means IT. It's technologies. But when we're talking of security, it's us securing those technologies. So girls, I think we are capable of that. Because in our mind, what comes to mind when we think of fixing our laptops is John, it's Edward, it's a male figure comes to mind when we think of fixing our laptops, just as an example. Why can't we do the same? Because Malawi CERT is a team that's still growing at the moment, and we have ladies on board, and I'm just so honored to be part of one of those ladies. But I believe that we can do way more if you can invest in yourself, get an education, get certified in whatever it is, go for the challenging things so that we build the team that is at Malawi CERT. Thank you.
Thank you, Ella. Go for the challenging things. Now, you've brought us to our theme for this year. We are here to inspire as well as empower. So we are having these ladies here so that they can both inspire you, young ladies, but to also empower you. Now, this goes to all three of you. Maybe we'll start with Magodisi. How best can we pave the way for the next generation?
Thank you. For us to pave the way for the next generation of women and girls in cyber, we have to have policies, maybe on the part of government, policies that would encourage women and girls to stay in school, to be in school, and also to have to show some interest, to have interest in pursuing careers in technology. I would just tell the audience about my story. I've worked as an IT person for quite some time. I was just in support, but after some time, I did a bachelor's in arts, in something else. Then I joined Malawi CERT. When I was joining Malawi CERT, I didn't have any, apart from the the IT side. I didn't have any expertise in what cybersecurity is all about. But then with time, I've managed to improve myself, do some certification. Like Exile said earlier, you can do the cybersecurity certifications. Some are free, some you pay, just to improve yourselves, irrespective of the career path that you're coming from. And I believe that even in cybersecurity, it's not always about the technical skills that are needed. Sometimes some incidences, they need you to critically think about what happened or what is happening. Because like I said, in the social engineering, sometimes it's not about the technical. You can put in place the technical things, the systems are okay, everything is okay. But if someone is just going to a local, my mother, and say, you've won, you should send 2,000 kwacha to this one, so that you claim your money. So that someone is playing with the mind of that individual. So you have to have other skills as well, so that you can be able to address the different incidences that are in cybersecurity. In our case at Malawi State, because we handle a lot of incidences that they come in different ways, much as the technical part, but also the other part is the softer skills that you would use to address issues that are to do with social issues. Thank you.
All right. There are several ways that we can pave ways for the coming generation. And the first one that I would talk of is training. It's important that not only organizations or our stakeholders, or even at an individual level, in schools as well, it's important that we prioritize trainings as well as sessions to encourage the girls. It's important to bring in people to have career talks and all of those other talks to motivate girls to get into not just STEM, but cybersecurity itself. Another thing that I would strongly recognize the schools that are doing this. So far we have the Malawi School of Government, NACID is also getting into it, and we have MUBAS as well. So these are our local universities that are trying to prioritize cybersecurity. So girls, feel free, and if you know that you're still in secondary school, I believe we have some girls here, work hard and try and get into those programs to grow your expertise as well. So in that, on the same, apart from just being a very technical person, I love to teach. I've always loved to teach. So I've always taken it on my free time to teach people and educate people about cybersecurity. So I've been doing this for the past 3 years, and just having some free sessions with students to just let them know the basics of cybersecurity and keeping themselves safe on the internet. And as Margot said, you know, she paved the way for herself. So girls, ladies, sometimes your worst enemy is not a man. Your worst enemy sometimes is not the lady next to you. Sometimes your worst enemy is yourself. So the fact that she stepped into something that she wasn't comfortable with, I think should be enough motivation for you to do the same. She's also a certified ethical hacker. I know she didn't mention it, but she is. So another way that I think that we can pave the way for the ladies is that we should raise enough awareness. Because as you can see, MACRA is doing its best to raise awareness on cybersecurity issues and cyber hygiene, which is handled by our consumers department. Awareness is being raised, but at the end of the day, it's up to what you choose to do with the information that is taught to you. And finally, I'll just say that we are always preaching as ladies to say that we want to be included. But are you working to be included? Because we need to understand that as ladies, you're not going to be taken on board simply because you're a lady. It's not enough. We're pushing, so make sure that you grow in the fields that you're in. And if you're thinking of getting into cybersecurity, grow deep into that field and let us show that we are actually capable of what we are preaching. So this is all that I have to say. And to conclude, I have worked throughout my experience with 90% of men. Whether I'm in a team of programmers, I've been the only lady. Whether I've been in a cybersecurity team, majority of the time I have been the only lady. So this is why it's important for you to also grow your social skills, your soft skills, because it's not going to work if you're just going to be shy the entire time instead of showing what you're actually capable of. Thank you.
Just to add on what Era and Margot has said, you also need to network with industry experts. I can give an example of myself when I was starting my work with Malawi State. I was completely blank, to be honest. They can testify about it. So they had to teach me from scratch. And I had to be passionate and listen to whatever they were telling me so that we should both move on the same page. I shouldn't miss any point. So if you get connected to those people who are eligible in these industries, they can help you to find these, find ways where you can also get yourself, maybe you can also go far with them. And then you can also certify for other certifications. Like myself, I did some certifications. I also get certified for an ambassador of GetSafe Online ambassadors. And also you need to have skills and education. You can't enter the field of cybersecurity if you don't need, if you don't have skills. So you can go for skills like online courses, or you can choose a career, like you can do your master's, because not everybody can start cybersecurity with a bachelor's. It's not so much at all. And also you can go for mentorship programs. The mentorship programs, they help you to boost your confidence and to build your self-esteem. Because when you just think for yourself, like I can do this, I can go for this career, on your own you can't. But then when you hear stories from other ladies and young women who have gone through the same, you also have that attitude, that passion that, oh, myself, I can also be like them. One day, I can testify about this and you can go for this career.
Thank you. Are we inspired, ladies? Have we been inspired? From Godisi telling you that you can start in one career and still end up in cybersecurity, to Ella telling us that she went into college unsure of what she wanted, but as the moment she found out that she wanted to do cybersecurity, she took it head on. And she has been in rooms with 90% of men and still came out on top. And as of Naomi, her sitting in front here is a testament on its own. Being able to be chosen out of a pool of 50 and coming out on top, it's no small achievement. So a big round of applause for our ladies that are sitting at the national level of cybersecurity in Malawi. I would take maybe 2 comments from the floor.
Thank you so much, ladies. Your presentation was very good, and it was so inspiring to others, more especially to me. My name is Chibiro Mariro. I work with the judiciary. I just want to find out about the platforms that you have said in terms of awareness to the public, because you only mentioned about the website. I don't know to those people who are not technically aware of the websites, how to use the website, because I know that in the public there are other people, they don't know how to use the website, they don't know how to go into the website. What about those people? Do you have an initiative of reaching out to those people? And also the awareness that you're doing to the general public, not only on the technical world, but we should also consider those people who are blank on the technical side. So what are you doing? Because we find out that most cyber victims are those people who don't have any knowledge about the technology. Maybe we can say that it is very advantage to us who are educated that we can be able to handle those issues of the cyber attacks. But what about those people in the villages and also those people who are not technically minded? What are you doing as a Malawi state? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Victoria Kokada. I'm a final year student at the University of Malawi studying information systems. I have two questions to Malawi State. You talked about being reactive and proactive, and on being proactive, you talked about testing organization systems to see if there are any attacks, or if there are any issues that aren't supposed to be done or taken care of by the organization. But my question is, does Malawi State have any systems that could actually just be monitoring the systems instead of waiting for you to test them, or instead of you waiting for alerts from the organizations? Another question is on mobile banking. Lately, I've heard cases where people get calls from fraudsters, and by the end of the calls, their money in the mobile wallet is gone. Have you received any complaints from the service providers that you need to help them on that? Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll take those two questions. Ladies, this is open to anybody who is free to take them. But let us also remember what Ella had said, that when you do report an incident, they have that confidentiality that they cannot come and let us know that A and B have been attacked, or A and B have reported, because it is now between the ones that are reporting and the Malawi State.
I think we had a comment, I don't know if it's a question, from the director.
All right. The Malawi State, I think, has asked me to take the one on awareness.
No, we had a hand up from the director, so I was just pointing that out.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to answer on the question that was asked by the girl. Okay. So just to clarify to everyone, CERT does not monitor. We're not in people's systems. Malawi CERT is, we handle issues at an advisory level as well as response. That is why we're the computer emergency response team for the nation. But we are working with our stakeholders to work together in a way that we're trying to build a community of cybersecurity specialists, especially through the ICT Association, so that whenever there's an incident, people feel free enough to report to us. because it is not in our mandate to go into people's systems without being authorized. Yeah, so I think that's what I was going to respond on.
And just to add on what Ella has said, as Malawi said, we are also encouraging organizations or sectors like the banking sector, the telecom sector, to have their own sectoral sets in their different fields, because what we have noticed is that most of the problems that affect, for instance, the telecoms or the banking sector or the government or any other sector, they are similar. So by encouraging these organizations to come together and build their own sectoral sets, it will be easier to handle their incidences, or to handle their vulnerabilities that exist in that particular sector. The question from Madam from Justice, thank you for your comment. Malawi said we work with different stakeholders, including the media, and we do have public awareness through radios. We work with the department, MACRA. There's a Consumer Affairs department. We work with them, and we put out information about how people can be safe online, or how they can use digital platforms safely. And also at MACRA, there's the reporting line, the 261, where people can report their incidences, and they can be assisted. And we also have posters. We really work with people, and we also work with organizations just to make sure that Malawi is always safe from attacks. And this could be on the organization side and the individual side. So our information, we are protecting organizations on the other side, and on the other side we are protecting individuals. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to add, just make comments on the questions as well as what was presented. I think I just wanted to make it very clear that the national set where they're sitting they are called the first responders, because their role mainly is to protect the Malawi critical infrastructures. Those systems that when they go down, they affect the social well-being of Malawi as a nation. Immigration is one of the examples that recently was hacked, and you know how people suffered. It did not just affect one individual, it affected Malawi as a nation, especially those who wanted to travel and others. So when we talk about critical infrastructure, we are talking about those critical systems. It's not just immigration. Immigration is part of e-government services, so it's all e-government services in general. It can be the driving licenses, it can be something else that is offered by government. But again, we have the financial sector. It is also a critical infrastructure. We have the telecom, which drives the whole digitalization drive. It is also a critical infrastructure. I think there are about 11 identified in Malawi. So their role as the first responders is to protect these national critical assets. However, because the set has just started, these sectors are supposed to have their own set that are supposed to coordinate with the national set. Currently, they are doing more because these sector sets have not yet been established. That's why you hear them talking about the awareness and other things. This is all part of the process, but soon we'll have a proper ecosystem where we have the sector sets where everybody has a role to play. And the other thing I would like to emphasize, when we talk about cybersecurity, it's a shared responsibility. It's the responsibility of you and me. government, private sector, NGOs, civil society. Everybody has a role to play. So I also want to emphasize on that. There were some questions that were asked about the awareness, especially at grassroots level, which ideally they're not supposed to deal with, but they coordinate with the Consumer Affairs Department. There will be a presentation, I think I've forgotten the day, but the person in charge, I think Mr. Kedias Mlenga, I think he was also here, I saw him in the morning, will make presentations on what happens on these mobile frauds. We are aware. Do we work with our operators? Yes. Not just with our operators. If you look at mobile fraud, you discover that 90% of those fraudsters are in Zomba prison. We work with the prisons. We work with the police. We do have a live task force. Combined, the operators are there, the banks are there, MACRA is there, the police are there, the NRB is there. There's so many stakeholders that are involved, and they are coming up with the solutions on how best we can mitigate against these cyber crimes. I would also like to state, when it comes to cyber crimes, they'll always be there. You cannot completely eradicate them. It's not just Malawi, it's the whole world. They will take, as the internet, everything evolves, cyber crimes will also evolve. That's why I think there was Margo who also mentioned social engineering. They use a lot of psychology. And it's not just Malawi. Recently I was at a conference, international conference, where they were complaining about social engineering. And for them, the way that guy was hacked was somebody called the call center for a bank, and actually pretended, like a lady, pretended as if a baby is crying and she's in distress, but there was no baby. She was just playing some music, and she was complaining, you know, I need my details, I've forgotten my details. And the baby was screaming, and she, from just hearing from her, you'd think that she's really in distress. And she was talking politely to the call center agent, and the way she was talking, she managed to extract the information that she needed. So in most cases, when we talk about frauds in Malawi, there was always a human element. It's always the consumer somehow who makes the mistake that costs them the money. That's why there is a lot of awareness that is going on. That's why I'm saying that it's a responsibility of you and me. We pass on the message to our people who are not here, and it doesn't matter when it comes to social engineering, it's just a matter of time. What we can do is to empower you. Sometimes by the time you think, recently I had somebody complaining about mwana wa Sankidwa college and afuna ma hostels. And akulandira phone, mwana wa Sankidwa kuno kodi, zonadi. And kunoko mahopasara ma hostels aratokande mwana wanu tukumpanga consider, I think anafusa kwa muntu wina wake, are you still interested? And the way mena amafusira, zinazooneka ngati za genuine. Until somebody next to her said, hold on. Tafusa nigale, ameni wondi ndani. And wafusa, upezga utanafusa mafusa wida, they managed to get udai, akungwana miza, mafuna wabira. So you and me, we have a responsibility also to make sure we have to be aware every time. Chili Chonse, we stop, we think before we take any action. Because as I said, it's just a matter of time before agatibere. But for our first responders, their role is mainly technical, protecting the critical infrastructure. But because that's why Panopo, they are doing even more. But I hope by the end of the conference, you'll be able to direct those questions to the consumer department. Who's in what they are doing, and some of the incidents. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. 2 seconds, wrapping up, ladies. We'll start with Magodisi.
I believe that this conference would inspire the next generation of girls and women to consider cybersecurity as a career a career path that they would take. And also, I believe that the meeting would kickstart the networking part that is needed for women, young girls, to have the appropriate information on what they can do or what they need to do to have to be in the cybersecurity industry. Thank you.
Ella?
I'm just going to be brief and say that, ladies, we've listened to what has been said today, but at the end of the day, you can be taught something, but if you want, you can take it to heart and take it forward. But it's also up to you to not take it forward. If you ask me for my advice, I'd say you take whatever has been shared today and try to put it into your life. If you do this, I guarantee you that you're going to prosper not just in cybersecurity, but the IT sector in general. And lastly, I'll also say that cybersecurity is not just the technical part. Just because you see me as technical does not mean you have to be. As I say, you need other skills. You need soft skills as well. We also have cyber laws, so you can be in law and still do cybersecurity. You can be in psychology and still do cybersecurity, because we also have psychology in cybersecurity when we deal with issues of social engineering and other issues. So whatever field that you're in, cybersecurity is very relevant. So ladies, let us take this opportunity to bring cybersecurity into our fields, and we'll see the massive things that it's going to do. And to the gentlemen, please continue to support us as ladies. We really need this for us to contribute to the field. Thank you.
Naomi?
If you want to pursue a career in this industry, as Era said, then this is your opportunity. And I can just say for the young girls and women who go maybe for a competition, know your purpose, because this might be your chance. It can carry you somewhere. You will remember that, okay, Michael did this for me, and I am here because of this. So know what you have come here for, and pursue that. Please, ladies, don't copy what people are saying or hear whatever negative thoughts they might give you. Know your purpose. Have passion for what you want. If you want to join cybersecurity, there are more chances open for you. Not only here, anyway, you can get a chance to do this. Thank you.
Thank you. A big hand for the ladies in the Malawi CERT. Ladies, as you are going to take your seats, may I ask the technical team to beam the incident report form. This is on the Malawi CERT website, so you can report your incident by going on the Malawi CERT website and reporting. Ladies, thank you so much. We have one final presentation. This one will be taken by Elizabeth Mwale. Elizabeth is a social entrepreneur and the founder of TechPearl, which is aimed at unlocking digital skills for women and girls in Malawi. She is presenting on encouraging girls in STEM. Elizabeth?
Good afternoon, women in cyber. I think you need to reply to me in a louder voice. Good afternoon, women in cyber. Yeah, so from my fellow presenters, they already said everyone can be a cyber soldier. My name is Elizabeth Kalisiromwale. I'm the founder of TechPure. At TechPure, we are working on empowering young women and girls in technology by helping them to acquire employable digital skills. Everyone, for those who were applying cybersecurity conference, you all had a dream. You all had a purpose to fulfill. By the end of this conference, I'm sure that everyone here will make sure that her dream has been captured or her purpose has been fulfilled. For me, my dream was to promote myself from a participant of last year's Women in Cyber to a speaker for this year Women in Cyber. Congratulations to me. Okay. I think the person who was mentioned by Exile, that only one person was certified after 2023 Women in Cyber Conference, that person might be me. Can I confirm, Exile? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I am a certified in cybersecurity. Let me share with you 3 pillars of what happened for me to be certified. I'll start with 1, which is inclusion. It's about getting access through the door. For one to get access to the door, you have to make sure that you are able to learn and give yourself a challenge that you can do it. Force yourself to be there as a way of getting access through the door. At TechPure, we have a program called SysHive. For the past 3 months, I have been mentoring a batch of 15 girls in cybersecurity. Do we have SysHive fellows here? Do we have SysHive fellows here? Thank you very much. They are here. For me, I feel inclusion is not just about getting yourself there, but when you open that door, when you break that door, you also have the opportunity, you also have the task to keep that door open for others to come in. That's inclusion. The second pillar is influence. Now that you have a door open, it's time for you to get a seat. You cannot make yourself be on a table where there is no people who can influence you to grow. In such a way, you need to have that courage to look for a seat. How can you get a seat after you have entered into a room? There are so many ways. My fellow presenters have already said it. Networking, Make sure you are connected yourself to the people that are already in the industry. After my participation in 2023 Women Cyber Conference, I made sure that I should make very strong connection to the people, those that are experts in the field. And that also helped me to be where I am today. I urge each and every one of you to do the same. Make sure by the time you finish, by the time we winding up this conference, you should be able to network with people that you feel they will help you. Get yourself a mentor. My last pillar is impact. Ladies and gentlemen, once we have a seat on the table, we should make sure that we all stand up and get out of that room to make impact. As cyber experts, we have a lot of roles to do. We have a lot of responsibilities to do. We can either help the government by advocating for inclusive cyber policies, or else we can also take charge in mentoring the communities that we live in. The girls that I was coaching at TechPil, I took them on the grassroots level. They are the girls that did not have background in computer. But by the end of the day, if you are to ask them as of now, even the time Exile was asking the question in this room, that how many doesn't know the word cybersecurity, they did not raise a hand. The reason is they know what they have learned and they appreciate what cybersecurity is. So, to make an impact, don't just sit on the table. Go out there and make impact. We need you at TechView to volunteer to impact these girls in digital skills. You can also help by supporting initiatives that are empowering young women and girls in technology, either by donating to the initiatives like Since Hive, to make sure that we are able to train so many underprivileged girls in this digital world. From there, ladies and gentlemen, inclusion, impact, and influence. These are three pillars that have helped me to certify in cybersecurity. Thank you.
Before we allow you to sit, we'll take 2 comments from the floor. One. I see a hand here. Okay, I think we only have one, so we'll take that one.
Good afternoon. My name is Dismas Ongondi. I work for the UNDP as a cybersecurity specialist. I only got to know about this program around 11:30 when the resident rep asked me to come and attend on her behalf, and I will stay on until the end of the conference. But from the last panel discussion and this presentation, these are very inspiring sessions. And I just wanted to add a voice to stress what has been said and to inspire the women that are aspiring to get into cybersecurity. I will be brief. Personally, I've been in cybersecurity for a long time, since the year 2001. probably even earlier because I got certified as an information system security systems auditor in 1999. But there are a couple of things that I wanted to mention. And if there's opportunity, in the course of the subsequent sessions, I would be happy to participate. One of the things, two things I want to mention. Number one, you don't have to be very technical to get into cybersecurity. As the panelists said before, there are soft skills, there are different domains. For example, privacy and data protection does not specifically require you to be very technical to get into that space. A lot of opportunities now, especially in terms of providing services in data protection and privacy, especially in my own country, Kenya, are actually being dominated by people from the legal profession. They didn't do cybersecurity. They didn't do technical subjects. The second thing is there is a lot of value in affiliating with a recognized and reputable professional body. Lawyers have it. People in the medical industry, in the healthcare industry have it. You too should aspire to join a recognized professional body. And I have in mind two. ISACA, which is a global chapter-based body with a presence in more than a half of the countries of the world, is open to people that are aspiring to be in IT governance, systems audit, security management, risk management, and different kind of spaces. There is one particular initiative that ISACA has which would be very relevant to women in cybersecurity. She leads tech. In terms of developing global alliances, mentorships, and helping you to become a leader in cybersecurity. Now, this is a membership-based body, and I do not know if you have a chapter here already. I doubt, because I think I should be knowing already. But it's one of those things that I would like to discuss with professionals, whether you are men or women in this country while I am around. We can probably look at what it would take to form a chapter of ISACA in Lilongwe. I have served at that level before. I have assisted a few other African countries do it. And so I am happy to be able to provide the necessary guidance for you to form that chapter. And I'm also looking at some of you developing interest to join this body as a student member if you are at the university, or as a professional who is seasoned in the industry. There is a lot of value because it teaches you on how you do the business in the industry. My final point, and probably now this goes directly to Malawi SAT and the other key players, is how do you foster strong academic industry linkages to ensure that whatever is being taught at the universities addresses a critical need in the industry. That the demand for the skills that are being imparted at the universities would actually be relevant and immediately applicable to industry. Finally, in terms of opportunities, they are limitless. The choice you have as an aspiring woman in tech or in cybersecurity is either to limit the challenge or you challenge the limit. I rest my case. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Elizabeth, I'll allow you to take your seat. We want to break for lunch, but okay, I'll allow just one. May we please have a mic here?
Thank you very much. My name is Nesesha Debera, the founder for Women in Tech Malawi. And first, I would like to commend you for the good works that you're doing at Tech Fair and the good presentation that you gave us. I have two questions. Firstly, how do you think individuals in leadership roles in companies should be behaving or should be promoting inclusion without making it feel like it's being forced, or that? And secondly, how do you think the young girls that we're talking to today have the role or impact? What would they? How would they impact the future in cybersecurity? Thank you.
I'll start with the first question. How individuals
Okay, how should individuals in leadership roles, say in organizations or companies or any places, how should they act to to promote inclusion in the workplaces wherever they are, without making it feel like it's being forced?
Okay. Individuals in different organizations, how can they make impact? Okay. Yeah, so there are so many ways. I already said. They can work on advocating the inclusive policies in terms of cybersecurity space, or they can mentor young girls and women in technology as well as cybersecurity. You can choose on a weekend to have a talk with any of the girl you feel can be inspired by you being there in the industry. So that can also help. In addition to that, you can promote and support initiatives that are working on girls' empowerment in technology as well as cyber security. So I think those are three things that I can say about the question. Yeah. The other one was?
What role do you think the young girls, like for example the ones that we're talking to today, what role are they going to play in promoting cybersecurity, say, in the future?
Thank you very much. I've talked about influence. I said once you have broken the barrier, once you have access to the door in terms of the field of cybersecurity, you also have a law to influence the community. To influence is about using your skills and knowledge and share it among the people surrounding you. So for the young girls, my advice to you is, once this conference is over, that doesn't mean the information that you get here will also end here. When we go out there, spread the word. Take an initiative to give information that you have acquired here to the people out there to know and to understand what cyber is. All in all, they have already said, we are all cyber soldiers. So this means by the time we get out of that door, each and everyone here is an ambassador to the cyber security. He or she will be able to spread the word of how people can handle themselves online, how people can prevent from being, how people can prevent themselves from being attacked on cyber world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. You can take your seat. We are going to break for lunch, but before we do, I have 3 announcements. The first one, I'll be amiss if I don't recognize that Yatu Yatu has provided internet. So we have internet from Yatu Yatu. Lunch is being served at the foyer. We'll break now and we'll convene back at 2:30. We have a breakaway session later on for the girls, but after lunch we are all coming and convening back in here. And we have dinner today at 6:30. It will be served at the main foyer. As we go out, we'll find ladies that will give us coupons for lunch. So lunch starts now, and we'll convene back here at 2:30. Thank you for being an active and tentative audience. Thank you.